So, in this video, I wanted to talk about the Brazilian character, the Brazilian personality. And so right now I'm in Fortaleza, Brazil. And I'm going to compare Brazilians to Colombians, right? So I travel around a lot, and naturally it occurs to me, well, in what way are Brazilians slightly different than Colombians and vice versa, etc.? So Brazilians are slightly more, they're slightly more individualistic. I'd say noticeably more. I mean, sufficient that I think of it when I want to make a video, or I think of it when I decide where I want to live. So what do I mean by that? Well, I come from the United States, of course, and we tend to be rather individualistic people. And so when I'm in Colombia, I notice that I will hear the word gringo. Oh, gringo this, gringo that, or there'll be a group of them kind of standing around looking over at me. Maybe it's a group of young men and they'll be smirking or whoever, and they're kind of, hey, it's a gringo. What's the gringo doing? You know, that sort of thing, right? And so that's a difference. That is far less common here in Brazil. It does happen, and they have the same term, but it's less frequent. And so naturally, I kind of like that. As a foreigner, as someone who's not from around here. So it's it's been kind of I guess you could say, a relief. As I said in one of my other videos, I had lived in Brazil previously a good 20 years ago. Okay, a good 20 years ago. And here I am back again in 2022. And I'm recalling, just how much I like these people and why I liked Brazil. So now, I have this sense amongst Brazilians that they have their own opinion, their own idea, and heck, it could be very different than mine or some other Brazilian. And so they'll kind of evaluate you on your merits, as it were, right? They're not immediately deciding who you are or what you think because you're a foreigner or you're not a Colombian or who are you and this kind of thing. They're less afraid. They're less afraid of foreigners. Brazilians tend to be more gregarious and outgoing. They speak their mind a bit more. And that's, again, it's more, Brazilians in this respect are more similar to Americans than Colombians are, or Dominicans are, for that matter. So you might be considering, well, what's if I'm going to be retiring, or I can work remotely and I want to live overseas for some period of time, and I want a place that can accommodate me and I get the most out of, for me, it makes a difference. Okay, so right now I'm just talking about Brazilian character, right? There are other things like Brazil. It's harder to get to Brazil. It's not just like the Dominican Republic, just a quick 1-hour flight, right? In Colombia, Barranquilla from Miami is only 2 hours and 40 minutes. Boom, one way, bam. Much closer. But, so, now, here's another point. Brazilians tend to be more friendly and outgoing than Colombians. They will say, kind of, hey, what are you doing? And they seem much more genuine in their interest. Okay? And I guess it comes back to that. They're not really afraid of the outside world. It's like they don't, their ego, they don't have a huge, you know, cultural an identity as a Colombian, or a group identity that somehow you might fracture or injure if you tell them who you are and what you think and what your beliefs are. They don't have that as much. Okay, now remember, I've lived in a lot of countries. Okay, China, Russia and Ukraine, long ago, Russia and Ukraine, also quite a while ago, but nonetheless. And I lived for a little bit of time in Germany, and a couple more. I can't recall off the top of my head, but at any rate, so so another thing. Here's another note about this video. I am in Fortaleza right now. I'm in Fortaleza, Brazil, which is up on the coast, and it's very similar in terms of the geography as well as the size to Barranquilla, Colombia. Again, this city in many respects is kind of like the Brazilian equivalent of Barranquilla. And of my 7.5, 8 months in Colombia, I spent 6 of those months, or seven of those months, I guess 8 months in total, and 7 of those months in Barranquilla. So in many respects, this is a comparison, okay? So now, are Brazilians more educated than Colombians? I would say that on the whole, they probably are. On the whole, they probably are more educated. And also the economic level in Brazil is, I don't know, maybe 15% higher than Colombia. Not a lot. It's very similar. I'd say that most people would say that if you're an American saying, well, let's compare the economy and life of Brazil and Colombia, you probably say they're pretty much the same. And I'd say they are pretty much the same, but Brazil is a little better. Brazil is a little more developed. It could also because it's such a larger country, I'm not sure. But now, what else? Are they smarter? No, I would not say that Brazilians are smarter than Colombians. Okay, I would not say that. And what else? Well, that's all I would say so far. Have a good day, you guys.